Hope you can hear this. I am a blackjack player. I have played blackjack online for about 10, 12, 15 years, since about the year now is 2014. I guess since about the year 2000 AD. And I want to talk to you about blackjack systems. It's wildly believed by most blackjack players that they can beat the house, because the house, if you play a perfect strategy, that the house has only got about a 0.50 advantage. So in other words, for every $100 you bet, you will only lose about 50 cents. Now this is perfectly true if you level bet. That's perfectly true, especially if you play enough hands. Over 10 hands, it's like tossing a coin. You toss a coin twice, it could come down twice heads or twice tails, or one of each. Toss it 3 times, it could come down 3 heads, 3 tails, or it could come 2-1. And the more tosses, the more the volatility is. Toss it 10 times, it's possible to come down 10 times heads or 10 times tails. Now that's what we call a volatility. So there's a volatility in gambling. There is the volatility, which only means that you can have long runs of wins and long runs of losses. And this is what you usually teach players. It's fine winning in the short term. You can double your money from $50 to $100 and leave with the money, but you won't do that every single time. And then we come to the law of probability. And the law of probability is, if I can explain it, we said you toss a coin, you flip a coin 10 times, and it can come down twice heads, 8 tails, or it can come down 5 of each. There's any number of permutations. It could come down 10 heads or 10 tails. It's possible, but it's not likely. It's not probable. Now, they say that when you play blackjack or roulette, but I'm going to concentrate on blackjack now because the house margin is so low. But they say that the previous hand that you were dealt, whether you won or lost, has absolutely no bearing on the hand that you're going to play next. We're not talking about where you can count cards or where there's where you play live online blackjack, where the penetration is about 50% of the shoe, where you can count cards to a certain extent. But I'm talking about just RNG, which is a random number generators, where in theory the hands are shuffled after each hand, so there's no bearing on the last hand of what cards are going to be dealt in the next hand. Now, there are good random number generators, and there are good ones, there are poor ones, there's some that are very good. In all the years I've played, all the top software suppliers, microgaming, net entertainment, real-time gaming, I've tried them all. What's the other one? Playtech. There's a few others as well, and there's a few which are not very well known. Now, I've tried them all, and it is quite difficult to consistently win at blackjack. So let's talk more about the volatility. Now, if you're playing blackjack at, say, $5 a hand, and the table maximum is 1,000, the chances of you running out of money are going broke because the table maximum isn't high enough, are quite high. Now, the volatility, the fact that you can lose five consecutive hands, can you assume then that you might, for example, if you've lost 5 consecutive hands, that your chance of winning the next hand is great? Well, actually, the law of probability is that if you just lost you had 5 consecutive losses. Now, the law of probability is that you possibly have a greater chance of winning the 6th, but only the probability, because you may lose the 6th, and the 7th, and the 8th, and the 9th. It's possible to lose. The most number of consecutive losses I've ever had on a Playtech blackjack is, believe it or not, it's 19. I once played blackjack many years ago with the Sunny group of casinos. The main one was Miami Casino. There was a few others. There was a group of 4, and at one time I was cashing out checks of about 10,000 a month because I somehow got to understand how their random number generators working, and with mathematics and with my own experience, I managed to profit. But I noticed that shortly after the time I stopped playing with the Sunny group, that they closed down their casinos. A lot of players were never paid, and I think Playtech, I'm not going to guarantee what I'm saying is true, but I've got a feeling that Playtech then changed how the random number generator worked. Now, I've tried all the major software developers, and I found it really hard to win consistently with blackjack. We all can have wins and we have losses, but usually the losses outweigh the wins. Now, yeah. How long have I been recording this one? 8 minutes. Okay. So we have the law of volatility. The volatility is the fact that you can have many consecutive losses, but now volatility can work 2 ways. If you can have between 5 and 8 or 10 consecutive losses, if the random number generator is fair to the player, one could assume that the probability is that if you can get 10 consecutive losses, then it should be possible that you can also get 10 consecutive wins. But how do you avoid having to have such a huge bankroll that you can recover from the losses, so that when you get to the streaks of wins, that you can recover the losses? Now, I've given this a lot of thought over many years. Now, there's the martingale system, which doesn't work. I actually did have a system which you could buy online. It was called Blackjack, the Luck Factor, and the system was based on always stopping at 6. In other words, using the martingale system, and if you lost 6 consecutive bets, then you started from scratch again. Now, that worked for a time, but you couldn't guarantee it would always work. As I said, you can have many more than 6 consecutive losses. And when that happens, although you haven't lost your entire bankroll, if you start with a $1 bet, you're going 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. So when you get to 32, you've almost lost $60+ dollars. Now, if that only happens once in every, say, 10 sessions, you'll still win. But you cannot consistently win money with that system. And all the other systems, negative progressions, positive progressions, there are as many betting systems as you can possibly imagine being marketed on the internet. And if you search, you'll find them. Oh, there's many. I've tried them all, but none of them work. None of them can defeat the house over a long period of time. Only over very short periods of time. In other words, you can play for 2 hours, double your money, take the money and run. Okay. I mean, years ago, I remember buying my first smart TV when I had a successful run and doubled my $1,000 to $2,000. I went out and bought a $1,000 TV. But I couldn't guarantee to do that every time. In other words, I was relying upon luck. If you're lucky, you double your money. If you're unlucky, you lose your bankroll. Now, gamblers rely upon luck. But there is a way in handling luck. And I'm not going to give too much away from here, but if I could tell you that I know casinos which have a minimum bet, a very, very small minimum bet, and where you can play with a bankroll of only $75, and playing with very small bets can be extremely tedious and boring, and I usually play for between only 15 minutes and 30 minutes because it's so boring playing with such small amounts. But usually in 15 minutes I can win $5, and in 30 minutes I can usually win $10. Not always exactly that, but between in half an hour I always win between $5 and $10. And usually, playing only 15 or 30 minutes per day, and being retired and not having to worry too much about money, I can deposit $75 and playing maximum of 30 minutes a day, maybe 15 minutes when I have my morning cup of tea, and then 15 minutes later. It takes me about a week to double my 75. And then I usually cash out the 75 and continue to play. And you probably don't believe a word I'm saying, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite you to send me an email to robjohn 1939. That's ROBJON, R for Robert, O for Orange, B for Bob, J for John, O for Orange, N for Norman, 1939, 1939, all lowercase, at gmail.com. If you send me a Gmail, I'm going to be able to give you a link to a video which explains in detail exactly how this system works. Now, I guarantee this, absolutely, that I've been testing this out now for many months, and I can win $75 in 7 days, starting with a deposit of only $75, and I've done that for quite a few months, with a system which I've never ever found on the internet. And I don't... Actually, I believe that, I mean, I'm not a mathematician, I'm good with numbers, and you've got to have a good memory for numbers. But I've not found this system anywhere on the internet, anywhere. But I can't believe that I'm the only person that's ever come up with this. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. And it's so simple. It's it's not complicated. And just drop me a line, send me an email, and I'll take you to the next step and give you a link as to how you can get this system. But it's going to cost you, I'm going to be honest now, it's going to cost you $75. I'm not going to give it to you for nothing. I'm not going to give it to you for $10, because if I sell it to you for $75, you're probably going to resell it to all your friends, and you're going to probably post it on the internet as well, and you're going to make much more money from this than I ever do. But anyway, I don't care. I'm 75 years old, and if you want to pirate my work, well, I don't care. I shan't, you know, I don't. If you do, anyway, okay. So if you're interested, if you don't want to pay the $75, just send an email, and I'll give you a little bit more information. I'll give you a little taste of how it works, and I'll also show you screenshots, and I'll also show you my live play, so you can see how it works, and then you can make a decision as to whether you should pay for the full thing. That's it for now. I must say goodbye. This is Blackjack Bob, Blackjack Bob, Rob John 1939 at gmail.com, saying bye for now. Thank you.